So guys, we are back with another video, and today we're just going to be going over what our plan is for the next year. So 2024, we got a bunch of things going on. We're talking about mining for the next year, so throughout 2024, in hopes of either having the bull run in 2024, which probably won't happen, but 2025 is more likely to happen. So big things obviously happening in 2024, which is the Bitcoin halving. I just want to say thanks for everyone that subscribed over the year. We had a great year on YouTube. We're trying to hit 4,000 subscribers, so if you could help us do that, then please like the video, share it out, try get us to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the year. That would be great. So getting back into it, Bitcoin halving is happening in 2024. We're about 124 days out as of recording, but it'll be around 115 by the time that we upload this video, and it's happening in April of 2024. So with hash rate, we're probably going to see a decrease because people are jumping off the network. So it might be a good time to yield if you have low electricity prices. Obviously, Bitcoin mining is not necessarily as profitable as other mining because you have kaspa mining right now. However, there is going to be hash rate drops on the network, which you can kind of accumulate more Bitcoin through that. So if you are mining, I'd say take the hit on power just a little bit throughout that period in a month after the halving or 2-3 months after the halving. Take the power cost hit, and you'll probably yield a lot more Bitcoin through them because we're going to see hash rate drops from there. But moving on to the plan for mining, if we go down to our coin market cap watch list, these are the main coins that we're going to be mining that we see potential with in the future. So I can't really show you any speculative coins because a lot of these have proven profitability, but speculative coins will probably come out within the year and we'll go over them in videos. So stick around for those kind of videos. But for the most part, with GPU mining strictly, we're going to be looking at dynex, Lithium, Claw, NeurAI, Nexa, Radiant, Zephyr for CPUs, Ironfish, possibly, Octa, Neoxa, Raptorium, obviously for a CPU, and Kyler coin. So I'd say you can point hash rate towards any of these within the next year, and we'll probably see profitability rise and fall for a bunch of them. But for the most part, I'd say you can point hash rate at pretty much any of these, and you'll see a nice 4-5x, maybe 10x increase within the year. However, going into the bull run, hopefully in 2025, this will be up to, 20-30x, hopefully. So that's the play for GPU mining in terms of these coins. Now, when it comes over to, ASIC mining, the only two coins that I'd potentially be looking at is kaspa and Bitcoin. So Bitcoin ASICs and kaspa ASICs are probably the best play in terms of ASIC mining. Now, I do want to mention ZIL. So anything that's under 100 million, you can pretty much point hash rate at these and they'll be doing good. There will be coins that come along that we'll make videos on, as I said, but for the most part, these are the ones that will be mining. With ZIL, we're just going to add it on as, a dual mineable part of mining. So with dynex, I think it works slightly well. Lithium, it works really well. These coins like NeurAI, ClawAI, Nexa, and Neoxa kind of have hard algorithms on your GPUs, so I wouldn't necessarily dual mine with those. But for Octaspace, Ironfish, Radiant, dynex, and Lithium, and possibly Ergo if you really want to mine it, but I'm not sure about Ergo, you can add ZIL just for dual mineable, more profitability. It doesn't really necessarily take up that much, but if you're mining on a Jazz miner as well, you can, I believe, merge mine this with any ETH algorithm coin. So that's the most part for the GPUs. So Ravencoin and Flux and Conflux are on there. However, I'm not too bullish on Conflux in terms of price increasing loads. I would be on Flux and Ravencoin. Flux more because of proof of useful work that just came out. That's probably going to take off a little bit, get to past those all-time highs of $4. So it's at 60 cents now. So who knows what happens in the future. That's a good increase if it does get up to that all-time high again. And with Ravencoin, obviously that's been like a stable enough coin for us to be mining, and it provides decent profitability. So I believe you're always kind of going to be profitable on Ravencoin with a certain cents per kilowatt hour, but for the most part there is more profitability to chase. However, throughout the year, we're going to be chasing yield of these coins. So one quick way to check if it's good to yield a coin is if you go over to hashrate.no, you click on one of these coins. Let's just say that we're going for ClawAI. So we scroll down and we look at this chart. So when the price overtakes the reward, as we can see here, you're going to be yielding less coins. So the rewards need to be higher than the price. That's basically the line that you're going for. If you're going for yield, and yield in the coin will obviously bring more profitability down the line if you're thinking ahead and not selling for quite a while, maybe 1.5 to 2 years. You want to yield coins over profitability mainly. So if this yellow line is above the red or orange line, then that's when you'll be yielding more coins relative to the price, which is a good time to be yielding. If we try to find an example here, maybe with, let's just say, Radiant. If we scroll down, you can see that the yellow line is above the red line. So we're actually yielding more coins on Radiant if we're mining right now than we would previously. This is obviously just to do with difficulty and the network hash rate, but for the most part, you want to look for coins if you're going for this yield route that have these yellow lines above the red lines. This is on hash rate. I know it's a quick, easy check to see if you are yielding more coins relative to the price of the coin and the hash rate and the difficulty on the network. So with all these coins, we're going to go for a yield instead of straight profitability. Take the hit sometimes on profitability just because yield is in theory going to be more profitable in the future with price increases. So as I said, that's going to be the main play in terms of mining these coins. Now, as we go up into Kaspa and Bitcoin, if we look on mine the ASIC here, we have, good profitability for Kaspa coin, but those daily outputs are going to drop within 2024. There's a halving every year on Kaspa coin. In theory, I know it drops every month, but in theory, a whole year is a halving. So within a year, this will be halved and all these rewards will be halved. Plus, there's going to be hash rate joining the network, so these rewards will be decreased further. So kind of factor that in. If you have the money right now, I wouldn't necessarily go for a higher priced miner because there's probably going to be more profitable miners out there as 2024 goes on. So maybe save some money for that. If you have liquidity to spend, I'd say maybe go with a KS1 because it's not too out of the price range and the payback time is pretty good right now. I wouldn't necessarily take the risk on these higher priced miners because you're allowed to risk 2,100. That's a good risk to take, but not with, 20,000, 15,000. I wouldn't necessarily go up to those prices. Now, when it comes to Bitcoin ASICs, I'd say the S21. So if we find the S21 200 terahash, I wouldn't go with the Hydro version just because, there's not much people out there that want a Hydro version. Instead, I'd go with the S21s or maybe the S19 Pros or XPs, depending on which ones you have enough to afford. The S21 right now is $2,950. It's good efficiency and people will want it in the next bull run. So if you stack up on these, even if you buy 2 or 3, they're probably going to 10x in price. They're probably going to be around $30,000 within the next bull run, depending on if Bitmain bring out new miners in terms of the S23. So that might come out before the bull run and then people will want that as well. But for the most part, buying hardware is also a good play. So I wouldn't necessarily buy Kaspa ASICs as a hardware play in terms of selling them on later on. I would buy more Bitcoin ones and maybe the Jazz miner, but I would go with a cheaper one like an X4 or an X16Q, something like that. So that's another way that we can also use profitability and factor it in going into the future or the next year. These prices are probably going to increase as it goes up to the Bitcoin halving because people will want to buy them to add hash rate and stuff like that. I'd say keep a hold onto them until they start hitting really good profitability, and that's probably the time to sell, midway through the bull run where you've made profits on the miner. However, you also are going to recoup a lot more than what you paid for it. So these S21s or even the S19 Pros, they're a good play for buying hardware to then in the future sell it off after you've made some profitability on them. It doesn't necessarily have to ROI because you'll probably be able to pay that back within the next 2 years for what the price of them are selling for. So ROI is not really a factor for the Bitcoin ASICs. It is for the Kaspa ASICs, however. And then lastly, when it comes to actual GPUs, I know that this chart is not going to be accurate throughout all of 2024. Obviously, these Kaspa forks have taken over, and as I said, this video is recorded about 15 days before it's uploaded, just because I got everything scheduled out, just so we don't have to, worry about YouTube going through the holiday season. There will be some live streams, so keep an eye out for them. And if we go on to GPUs necessarily, in terms of buying them for mining, I'd say you'd want to pick GPUs that are efficient plus they have good efficiency on a lot of algorithms. So the main ones that I think we were going to be looking for is mainly the 3070 Ti and maybe the 6600 XT or 6800 XT. So the majority of these coins that we've pointed out here, so we have Core AI, Near AI, Nexa, and I believe Neoxa are all on the car power algorithm, or at least versions of it. And in these car power algorithms, as you can see on the benchmarks, the 6600 and the 6800 XT are the most efficient. So obviously you want to go for efficiency over everything. It's not all about hash rate, it's about efficiency when you're mining, because that actually decreases the profit margins that you have to hit. So a lot of these coins, as I said, listed here that we're going to be mining for yield are going to be ones that are on the car power algorithm, and AMD is very good on those coins. So we'll be looking to get some of those. Plus, you probably want to buy them with a box. So remember, buy them with a box. So you're thinking retail value with the aim to sell within the next year or two throughout this bull run. And even if people don't take off in terms of GPU mining, GPUs will still be needed for stuff like AI rendering as we're moving forward to that in the future. Doesn't necessarily have to be for mining. There's still going to be a market there for GPUs. Now, in terms of another GPU that we'd probably be looking at in the 3070, I believe they do very well, like on dynex. I know that we're not going to necessarily see the 3070 up there. 3060 Ti is pretty good. 3070 Ti is down here, surprisingly, in terms of efficiency. With the 40 series, if you can get them on the cheap, sure, go for it. The 4070 Ti, if you can get it under maybe $800, that's a good play, just because they are so efficient, and they're going to be efficient on a lot of algorithms as well. So with dynex, it's more about computing power, and that's probably why the 40 series does so well. With the car power, it's more about efficiency. So let's go back and let's look at Lithium. So I believe that the 6700 XT, so anything from AMD within the 6000 series is pretty good for efficiency on a lot of these coins that we have displayed here. Let's actually go back to Radiant, just check that out because we didn't actually touch upon that. Radiant, there's obviously FPGAs on the network, we'll see how that plays out, but for the most part 4070, RX 6400, which is strange to see there, the 40 series, and then it drops down into the AMD 6000 series. So those would be a good play for the next coming year in terms of GPU mining for these coins that we have displayed here. With Ironfish, it's going to be reverting back to GPU mining, so keep an eye out for that. That hasn't come in yet, but it will be coming in the future. With Radiant, there's going to be FPGAs. I think there's going to be FPGAs within the next year for either Lithium, Nexa. Radiant already has FPGAs, so there might be ASICs coming in for Radiant, depending on the price movement. We already saw FPGAs on Ironfish, so we don't really have to worry about that. It's reverting backwards, as I said. dynex, I'm not sure how you'd implement an FPGA into that, but I don't think we're going to see it for a while. So that's my overall view of what we're going to be doing for 2024. So we're going to be yield mining on GPUs, we're going to be buying up hardware in terms of the 6600 XT, and maybe the 3070 Ti and 4070 Ti if you can get them for a good price. Now the good price for the 3070 Ti is probably around $300 to $350, and for the 6600 XT it's probably around $250, maybe a bit lower. So that's for GPU mining. And then just to recap, kaspa ASICs, I wouldn't necessarily buy the hardware with the thought to pass it on later and sell it for more. I would just be looking into mining kaspa coin. If you can't, just buy kaspa coin. And then with Bitcoin, obviously you can buy stuff like the S19 or the S21, and those will probably go up in price. You know, even if it doubles in price, you basically have cut the ROI time in half. It's looking good for the future of 2024. Obviously, the Bitcoin halving coming in, it's going to be great. We're going to see a lot of news around it. The ETFs coming in for Bitcoin, and we're probably going to see more ETFs, possibly for Ethereum maybe. And we'll just see how the year goes out. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments what you're going to be doing for 2024 in terms of mining, what your plays are, in terms of what coins you're going to mine, what GPUs you're buying, what ASICs you're buying, maybe even CPUs. So let me know that in the comments. Like and subscribe for more content like this.